Shocking truth. Why childlike faith will transform your life today at 3 a.m. The clock struck 3, and the air in the dimly lit room turned electric. Shadows danced across the walls, as if whispering secrets only they could understand. In that stillness, an undeniable tension hung, thick enough to cut through. The truth? Childlike faith had the power to reshape the very fabric of reality, but only for those daring enough to believe. It was a sensory overload, the scent of damp earth mixed with a primal fear, abandoned in the dark. Individuals often chose to turn away from the mysterious, but tonight, curiosity tightened its grip around their hearts. As she stood at the edge of her bed, Lucy felt it. A pull, like gravity, urging her to discover what lay beyond the ordinary. Children, with their wide eyes and innocent hearts, had this unique ability to see what others couldn't see. Lights flickering in empty rooms, echoes of laughter in the silence of night. Was it madness, or was there something genuinely magical in that innocent gaze? She couldn't shake the thought. Her mind fluttered like the pages of a book, with tales of faith whispered through the ages. Yet a deeper unease settled in. The anguished cries of a child echoed back in her memory, a ghostly reminder. It rumbled deep within her, like a storm on the horizon. There was always that hesitation, the fear lurking beneath the surface of belief. Outside her window, a strange sound erupted, breaking the heavy silence. A shatter of glass followed by a ghastly wail. Panic flooded her chest, pressing tighter and tighter as she rushed to peer into the haunting darkness. What had disturbed the peace of her quiet town? Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Her heart raced. She couldn't ignore it any longer. Someone needed help. Crawling into the night like a dark wave, she stepped outside, breath hitching in her throat as cool air brushed against her skin. She scanned the street, illuminated by flickering street lamps, searching for the source of the sound. A chill crawled up her spine as a dark figure darted past, cloaked in shadow. Who or what was it? Was it a spirit, a lost child, or perhaps something more sinister? Lucy edged forward, her legs trembling beneath her. The chill in the air thickened, and her mind raced as a nagging thought formed. Was this the mysterious power of childlike faith at work? As she approached the figure, an overwhelming sense of urgency filled the air, and a single question blared in her mind. What awaited her in the dark? Lucy held her breath, straining to see through the shadows. The figure paused, just as if sensing her presence, and for a moment, the world around her seemed to freeze. The stagnant air was heavy, almost suffocating, echoing with an eerie silence that wrapped around her like a shroud. Her instinct screamed for her to retreat, yet the pull of curiosity was far stronger. She had to know. "Hello," she called, her voice quivering like a leaf in a storm. The response was immediate, a soft whimper, barely audible, drifting on the cool night air. Panic surged within her. It was a child's voice. But was it fear or pain? It tugged at her heart, igniting a fire of determination. As she crept closer, the darkness peeled away to reveal a small child huddled against the side of a house. The flickering street lamp cast a weak light on the child's tear-streaked face. Lucy knelt down, trying to show she was safe. "Hey there, what's wrong?" The child looked up, wide-eyed, trembling like a tiny bird caught in a tempesta. "I can't find my sister." The words spilled from trembling lips, filling Lucy with both empathy and dread. She was playing, then she just disappeared. Lucy's heart sank. She could feel the weight of the night pressing down, crushing her chest. "What happened?" she asked gently, glancing around nervously, as if shadows could swallow her whole. She was here just a little while ago. We were playing hide and seek. The child's gaze darted toward the darkness behind them, as if expecting to see something or someone emerge. I told her not to go too far, but she wanted to see the lights. Then she just disappeared. As the child spoke, Lucy felt a rush of determination. This was no ordinary night, and whatever force had drawn her outside was powerful. She needed to harness that feeling, the same innocent faith that children wielded. "Let us find her together," Lucy offered, her voice firm, bolstered by a brave resolve. The child nodded, albeit hesitantly, and together they stepped into the night, venturing deeper into a world wrapped in dark mystery. With each step, the shadows seemed to grow taller, stretching out in defiance of the flickering light, as if trying to energize the fear that lurked beneath the surface. But Lucy clung to her purpose like a life raft in a stormy sea. "We just have to call for her," she said, hoping that her words would chase away the choking darkness. She shouted out the sister's name repeatedly, her voice rising above the din of the night, full of fluid faith that somehow recognized a higher power waiting to be invoked. Each unanswered call tightened her chest an echo in the void. What if they were too late? What if the darkness held something sinister, eager to claim a prize of its own? The night air swirled around them, cold and heavy, a tangible reminder of the danger that lurked just out of sight. Then, in a distant part of the darkness, she faintly heard a giggle, light and airy, floating like a butterfly through the gloom. Hope surged through her, sparking warmth despite the chill. "Did you hear that?" she whispered, looking at the child standing beside her. "Is that her?" the girl asked, voice barely a breath. Lucy didn't hesitate. "Yes, let us go." She took off, urgency propelling her forward. But as they rounded the corner, a terrifying sight materialized, gutting her optimism like a knife. In the middle of the cul-de-sac stood a ragged figure, a silhouette against the wavering street lamps. Lucy's heart stopped, and fear took a firm grip. What awaited them now? Who or what was that? "Stay close," she whispered, as every instinct within screamed for caution. The air crackled with tension, and she felt that pull again, stronger than ever, a hint of hidden truths brimming just beyond her sight. What were they about to uncover? With the darkness closing in like a vice, Lucy could only hold her breath and wonder. What lay hidden beneath the shadows? Would they find a sister or something even more unsettling? Lucy inched forward, the shadows swallowing her whole as she peered at the figure. It stood unmoving, cloaked in utter stillness, a stark contrast to the chaos thrumming in her chest. Heart pounding, she squinted. Was it a trick of the light? A figment of her racing imagination? "Who are you?" she called out, her voice steadying as she unconsciously leaned towards the unknown. With the child clutching her hand, Lucy felt both fierce and fragile, caught between the desire to protect and the urge to flee. The figure shifted slightly, the vague outline taking a breath of life. "Help," it rasped, the sound clawing through the night like nails on chalkboard. It took a step forward, revealing a tangle of hair matted with dirt, eyes wide and haunted. "Please." The child beside Lucy whimpered, fear spilling out of her tiny frame. "Is that her? Is that my sister?" Lucy's heart twisted. It looked like a child, but it felt wrong, so wrong. "Stay back," she ordered, breaking the spell of curiosity, suffocating her resolve. What happened to her? The figure's lips trembled, a grimace of despair crossing its face. "She needs help trapped," it whispered, eyes darting towards the depths of the cul-de-sac, as if something lurking just out of sight, waiting for the right moment to pounce. The weight of the moment compressed onto Lucy like a vice. Was this sister in danger? A chill wrapped around her spine. "Where is she?" "Follow me," the figure croaked, pointing a spindly finger behind it. Lucy's instinct screamed to turn and run. Yet that tiny hand holding hers felt desperate, filled with hope. "What do we do?" she whispered to the child. "Please, we have to go," the girl replied, her voice small. Lucy could feel the rhythm of the girl as fear thudding against her own pulse, a sickening mix of dread and resolve. Okay, then, Lucy breathed out, scanning the horizon of darkness. Together, they stepped forward, every nerve blazing with apprehension. The flickering lights dimmed, as if to mock their courage, and the night wrapped around them like a thick blanket of foreboding. As they followed the shadowy figure, strange sounds began to weave through the silence, the rustle of movement, whispers carried by the wind, and then, just as quickly, a dreadful stillness. Lucy could feel the hairs on the back of her neck rise, an urge to run screaming echoing through her. But something deeper kept her moving, a stubborn spark of bravery igniting within. "Is this where she is?" Lucy shouted, trying to break the tension, hoping to pierce the cloak of silence with her voice. The figure only nodded, a ghostly gesture that sent shivers racing down Lucy's spine. She pressed on, ignoring the tightness in her throat, discovering an old house obscured by overgrown weeds and shadows. The door creaked open as they approached, revealing only emptiness, no light, no laughter, just the echo of their breaths. Inhalation, exhalation. They were about to breach a threshold into the unknown, and Lucy's heart raced with each step. "Sister, can you hear us?" she called, desperation clawing at her throat. A soft whimper met their ears, sending adrenaline surging through Lucy's veins. It came from the depths of the house, calling her deeper into the abyss. The figure trembled, moving back as if it understood the danger that lay ahead. "Lucy," the girl cried again, pulling on her sleeve. "Stay with me," Lucy urged, fear chasing the words from her lips. "We're almost there." But as they stepped further into the darkness, inaudible whispers chorused around them. Reality twisted, and Lucy felt herself teetering on the edge of sanity. Then the door slammed shut behind them, plunging them into gloom. Shadows loomed larger, turning in on themselves, the air thickening until it felt as though something was watching from just beyond the veil of light. Lucy the child whimpered, her grip feeling frail. But Lucy knew the power. She held the bond of sisterhood, love, and the urgency of the moment. "What are we going to find here?" she thought, panic clawing at her insides like a wild animal. Could they uncover the truth? Or would they be consumed by the dark? A flicker of hope crossed her mind, but with every creak of the old wood beneath their feet, that hope began to feel fleeting. The darkness closed in tighter as they stepped into the unknown. What truth awaited them? And more importantly, what price would they pay to unveil it? Lucy's breath hitched in her throat, the thick air of the abandoned house wrapping around her like a noose. The whimper echoed again, a fragile sound that seemed to resonate off the damp, peeling walls. "Keep close," she whispered to the girl beside her, tightening her grip. The shadows danced around them, each flicker of movement igniting her instincts to flee. But she couldn't let fear consume her. Not now. "Where is she?" Lucy demanded, eyes darting through the darkness, desperate to find the source of the sorrowful sound. The air felt heavier, as if each inhalation was a gulp of dread. The figure's shadow lingered behind them, eyes wide and pleading, urging them to step further into the darkness. The child's grip tightened around Lucy's hand. "It's coming from the basement," she pointed, her voice quaking. "I can feel it." "Basement," Lucy repeated, the word tasting of copper on her tongue. "We need to be careful." They moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing ominously on the floorboards. Each creak felt like a warning, a reminder of the danger lurking around every corner. As they approached the basement door, it loomed larger, its surface scarred and darkened from years of neglect. Lucy hesitated, a cold dread settling in the pit of her stomach. Was it too late to turn back? The whispers grew louder, a cacophony of indistinguishable voices that sent tremors through her body. "Stay here," she told the girl, the words slipping out before she could think. But the child shook her head, defiance sparking in her frightened eyes. "I can't leave her, Lucy." Lucy swallowed hard. How could she argue against that? "Okay, but stick close. We go together." With a trembling hand, Lucy pushed the door, and it swung open with a low groan. A sudden rush of musty air hit them, thick and foul, as they stepped down into the darkness. The stairs creaked ominously, each step a tense negotiation with fate. "What is down here?" Lucy dared to question, her voice barely above a whisper. Something bad." The girl's voice trembled as echoes of past secrets seeped between each syllable. As they reached the bottom, the faintest glimmer of light flickered. Lucy's eyes adjusted, and she took in a small room full of shredded wallpaper. Strange markings smeared across the walls, symbols that seemed to pulse with dark energy. In the corner, a huddled shape lay on the floor, swathed in shadows. "Is that her?" The girl gasped, eyes widening. "Wait," Lucy commanded, her instincts on high alert. She stepped forward slowly, heart racing as she reached out toward the small body. "Hello, are you okay? Can you hear us?" There was no response, just a heavy silence hanging in the air, thick enough to cut. Lucy's hands shook as she touched the frail figure. It was cold, every instinct screaming for her to retreat. "Lucy," the girl whispered, fear clawing at her voice. "We should go back." Just as Lucy turned to reassure her, a shadow flickered in her peripheral vision. The figure that had led them here was now right behind her, watching with an unsettling intensity. "What do you want?" Lucy spat, irritation tinged with panic. "That which is lost will be found," the figure whispered, then vanished into the depths of darkness, leaving Lucy and the girl standing alone in suffocating silence. "What does that even mean?" Lucy muttered, turned back to the huddled figure. She shook it gently. "Can you hear me? Please." But her voice felt swallowed by the blackness, leaving her hollow and desperate, thick waves of dread crashing over her. The girl's breathing quickened as shadows rippled around them. Suddenly, a piercing scream shattered the stillness, sending a shiver down Lucy's spine. It was a sound filled with unrestrained terror. "Lucy, what was that?" The child cried, eyes wide, clutching Lucy's arm tighter. "I don't know," Lucy gasped, adrenaline coursing like fire through her veins. She turned sharply towards the sound, her mind racing with confusion and fear. We need to get out of here. Now." But the darkness thickened, swirling ominously, and it felt as if something was coming for them. "Run," Lucy shouted, pulling the girl by the hand as they bolted back up the stairs, the shadows curling around their feet, the screams still echoing in their ears. They stumbled into the hallway, panting wildly. But was it really over? Was the danger just behind them, or something far worse waiting around the corner? A glint of light caught Lucy's eye from an open door, a doorway beckoning, shimmering with hope in this abyss of despair. It couldn't be that easy. With a heart full of trepidation, she headed towards the light, anxiously questioning what they would discover there. Would it be salvation, or the darkness that had been lurking at the edges all along? The pulse of danger quickened, heartbeats syncing with the unknown that lay ahead. And as the door loomed closer, the reality of their situation pressed in like a vice. "Here goes nothing," Lucy whispered, stepping into the light. But what awaited them on the other side was beyond anything she could have ever imagined. As Lucy stepped through the threshold, blinding light enveloped her, a jolt of pure energy igniting every nerve in her body. She shielded her eyes with her arm, disoriented and unsteady on her feet. The air felt electric, tingling against her skin, as if it carried the weight of 1,000 secrets waiting to be revealed. "Lucy?" The girl's voice faded, uncertainty thickening the air between them. The illumination flickered, revealing an elaborate room unlike any other, a vast expanse sprawling before them, spiraled columns of shimmering light stretching towards an unseen ceiling. Crystal-like structures sparkled, casting prismatic reflections all around them. Strange yet beautiful, it felt like stepping into a mythical realm. But there was no time to admire the beauty. A shimmering figure emerged at the far end of the room, ethereal and almost transparent, radiating warmth and a sorrowful kind of strength. The figure moved toward them with an otherworldly grace, its eyes filled with a depth of understanding that made Lucy's heart race with hope and dread. "Welcome, Lucy," the figure spoke, its voice a harmonious echo that resonated deep within her. "I have awaited your arrival." Lucy glanced back at the girl, whose wide eyes barely blinked. "What is happening? Who are you?" The figure drew closer, tendrils of light swirling around it like a living garment. "I am a keeper of memories, of lost things of pain and love intertwined. This place is a sanctuary for those in search of the truth, those who dare to confront their fears." Lucy hesitated, doubt clawing at her heart. "The truth about what?" "About the darkness you seek to escape," it replied softly, "and the light you yearn to find." A chill slipped through Lucy's spine. The girl shivered beside her, grasping Lucy's arm tighter. "What does that mean? Are we safe here?" "Nothing is certain, child," the figure murmured, its voice now hauntingly melancholic. "The darkness that looms beyond threatens to devour those who dwell in fear. Yet within you lies the power to set it free." "Set what free?" Lucy pressed, desperation tinging her words. "What do you want from us?" "I want you to face what haunts you, Lucy. Only then can you find the girl you seek." At the mention of the girl, Lucy's heart sank. What did it mean? Was it the huddled figure left in the basement? A sense of urgency surged within her, igniting fury against the shadows that compelled her. Suddenly, the shimmering room shifted, the light flickering violently as if responding to Lucy's thoughts. The walls closed in, distorting the space around them, and a rift of darkness rippled across the floor like living ink, consuming everything in its path. "Run!" the figure cried as the shadow lunged towards them. Lucy grabbed the girl's hand, adrenaline surging as they darted away from the encroaching void. "Come on!" The light was fading fast, the sanctuary turning to chaos. They sprinted into the heart of the ethereal room, desperately searching for an exit as the figure fought the darkness behind them. "Lucy, don't look back," the girl urged, eyes wide with terror as they raced toward a towering archway of light, shimmering faintly at the edge, like the last flicker of hope. "Keep running," Lucy shouted, her lungs burning, desperation taking over. But the darkness was relentless, claws of shadow grasping at their heels. Just as they reached the arch, Lucy glanced back enough to see the figure engulfed by the void. A gasp tore from her throat, pain racking her chest. "No, come back." But all that was left was the fading echo of a haunting whisper. "You must find the light within." With a final surge of energy, they leaped through the arch, a brilliant burst of light consuming them, and then darkness. Lucy jolted awake, the familiarity of her bedroom surrounding her like a fragile cocoon, her heart thundering in her chest. But there was no sigh of relief, just confusion. Was it all a nightmare? Or was it just the beginning? The girl stood at the foot of her bed, no longer just a shadow of the past, but a living, breathing enigma. "Lucy," she whispered, eyes full of urgency, "we have to go back." "It's not over." Fear gripped Lucy like a vice as she shot out of bed, realizing the nightmare hadn't ended, it had only begun to unravel. What awaited them now? Was the dark force still lurking, ready to snatch what was left? The question lingered like smoke in the air, choking her resolve. Time was ticking, and the shadows were gathering once more. Panic surged through Lucy's veins. She swallowed hard, trying to steady her breath. The girl's presence was a flicker of light in a world suddenly dark and uncertain. "What do you mean it's not over? Where do we even start?" The girl's gaze grew intense, and she stepped closer, urgency crackling in the air. "The shadows are stronger now. They were waiting for us. We have to find the keeper. She's our only hope." That figure? The one we Lucy trailed off, horrified at the realization they might be searching for someone who no longer existed. The image of the figure disappearing into the darkness haunted her thoughts. Yes, the keeper. The girl's voice trembled. "She can help, but we need to navigate through the darkened streets first." "You felt the darkness, Lucy. It's calling us back." Fear gnawed at Lucy, but determination flickered in her heart. "We can't let it win. We need to go back," she declared, certainty pushing through doubt. The girl nodded, and they both felt a magnetic tug in the air. It was as if the house itself were shifting, urging them toward the unknown. With a shared glance, they clasped each other's hand tightly, bracing for the leap once more. In a blink, the world around them warped again. Darkness swallowed the bright colors and the comforting textures of Lucy's room, pulling them into the depths of the unknown with a rush that made her stomach lurch. As they landed with a thud, the chill in the air was palpable, wrapping around them like a shroud. They stood on a narrow street lined with twisted trees, their branches clawing at the heavy mist. Shadows darted in and out of the fog, whispering secrets that made Lucy's skin crawl. "Stay close," Lucy urged, her heart beating like a war drum against her ribs. The girl glanced around, pure fear etched on her delicate features. "Ikansen Saitalia." The keeper is near just then. A piercing laugh sliced through the oppressive silence, echoing off the cobblestones. "Did you think you could escape so easily?" A figure emerged from the shadows, cloaked in darkness, eyes glowing like embers in a dying fire. "You're mine now." Lucy's breath caught. The figure was both terrifying and familiar. Something about the way it moved felt wrong, like watching a twisted reflection in a funhouse mirror. "Run!" Lucy screamed, yanking the girl away just as the shadows lunged, tendrils of darkness spiraling toward them. They sprinted down the cobblestone alley, turning corners, desperate to escape the nightmare that followed. A cacophony of whispers surrounded them, frantic voices that echoed their fears, their failures, their lost hopes. "Feel the weight of what you carry. You can't hide," the echoing voice taunted, gaining closer with each step. The girl gasped, her foot catching on a sudden rise in the pavement, and she stumbled. "I can't, Lucy, I can't." Lucy felt her heart drop, adrenaline flaring as she turned back. There was no time to hesitate. "Get up. We have to keep moving." With trembling hands, she pulled the girl to her feet, shoving aside the fear gnawing at her spirit. They continued racing through the swirling mist as the shadows chased relentlessly behind them, whispering promises of despair. Lucy clenched her jaw, the resolve hardening within her. She'd find the keeper. She'd free them. As they dashed forward, a flicker of light appeared just ahead, resembling the arch they had escaped through before. The realization hit. It was a portal. "Lucy, it's a way out," the girl shouted, nearly breaking into sobs of relief. Yet, just as hope flared in their hearts, the sinister figure emerged from the depths of the shadows, standing in front of the light. "You shall not pass," it roared. Darkness is coiled around it like serpents, ready to strike. Lucy felt her breath hitch. "What do we do?" But even as she spoke, a flicker of understanding ignited inside her. The shadows may have power, but so did they. "We fight," Lucy declared, fueled by an unexpected surge of courage. As their resolve intertwined, a blinding light burst forth from them, breaking into the darkness with determined ferocity. Yet just as victory seemed within their reach, the darkness roared back, refusing to yield easily. "Find the light within." The keeper's voice echoed in Lucy's mind, stirring something deep within. But what light could they summon now, trapped in the clutches of despair? And as the shadows pressed forward, doubt entwined with the hopes stirring inside her, they prepared for the inevitable clash. The shadows roared with a hunger all their own, swirling and writhing like angry serpents. Lucy's heart thundered in her chest as she felt the fear of the darkness swallowing her whole. It was as if the air itself thickened, making it harder to breathe. She sensed the girl's fear flicker beside her like a candle in a storm, but they didn't have time to falter. "Close your eyes," Lucy shouted, her voice strained but resolute. "Remember the light." The girl glanced back, eyes wide, desperately clinging to Lucy's arm. "What light? I can't even if I try." Focus, Lucy thought fiercely. "Think of something beautiful, something that makes you feel safe. We can push it back." With that, Lucy squeezed her eyes shut, blocking out the dreadful sound around them. Words of joy flooded her mind, the sun spilling gold across the river, trees bursting with blossoms in spring, laughter ringing in a warm summer breeze. Memories grounded her, even as the darkness roared louder, clawing at the edges of her resolve. "Feel it," Lucy urged, forcing the girl to focus. "Breathe in the light. Let it wrap around you." Lucy felt the warmth suffuse her body, pushing through layers of fear that threatened to drown her. She let the joy transform into a fierce doggedness, a glimmer of power brightening her spirit, rising up to meet the encroaching darkness. "Now, together!" she shouted, and opened her eyes to deliver the command as the shadows lunged. They stood shoulder to shoulder. In that moment, it was as if time slowed, the shadows hesitant for just a heartbeat. Lucy focused all her energy, drawing on every ounce of hope and love that she could conjure. "Light, come, break through." Lucy's voice rose, invoking all that she believed in. Together, they unleashed their light with a cathartic cry. A blinding wave surged from their hands, illuminating the street with a dazzling brilliance. The darkness flared, recoiling, churning like a wounded beast, splattering against the walls of the alley. But the figure loomed before them, its form twisted and monstrous, still anchored in the shadows. "You think mere light can defeat me?" It sneered, the darkness around it thickening into a web of despair. Lucy felt her courage waver. Their brilliance dimmed under the weight of the figure's malicious energy pressing at the edges of their radiant sphere. "It's not over," the girl whimpered beside her, gripping Lucy's arm tighter. "It wants us to despair. No, we can't give in." Lucy shot back, the defiance surging again. "Fight it. Remember the light. Remember what we have to lose." In that moment, she reflected on the most precious thing she carried, her unwavering bond with the girl beside her. They had faced the darkness together before, and they would do again. "On three," Lucy called, her voice cutting sharply through the rising tension. "1, 2, 3. The girls thrust their hands forward, a beam of light erupting from their joined palms. It collided with the figure, sparks flying as the two forces clashed. For an instant, they appeared locked in a violent stalemate, but the shadows, rife with turmoil and fear, began to fray at the edges. Lucy tightened her grip on the girl's hand. "This is our moment. We can break it." With a final plea for courage, their combined light surged forth, casting a radiant column that pierced the darkness like a spear. A cry of fury erupted from the figure as it began to dissolve into a scattering of sparks, disappearing into the mist, its laughter fading into haunting echoes. The girls gasped for breath as the shadows twitched and shivered before retreating. They stood in silence, panting, surrounded by an almost blinding glow that began to settle into an ethereal twilight. But even as hope surged in Lucy's chest, doubt crept in again. "What now?" the girl asked, glancing toward the far end of the street where a fog still swirled ominously. In the distance, an ominous roar echoed, and out from the mist, a pair of crimson eyes emerged, fixed upon them with a sinister intensity. What if this was just a distraction? Lucy breathed, fear gripping her, just as she felt their unity crack. The shadows returned with renewed strength, the looming figure deeper and darker than before. "Lucy," the girl whispered, trembling. "We have to run again." But Lucy felt something deep inside, an inkling of something she was yet to discover. "No," she murmured, as understanding stirred within her, their fight far from finished. "Let us go deeper," Lucy urged. "We're closer than we think." The echoes of old memories and new revelations swirled around them, waiting to be unlocked as they prepared to confront whatever lay ahead. The mist thickened around them, coiling like a dense serpent, shadows flickering with violent energy. Lucy clenched her teeth, holding her breath against the fear creeping back in. She could sense the girl trembling beside her, the warmth of her small hand suddenly feeling fragile. "Don't let go of me," Lucy urged, try to convey a strength she didn't fully feel. The crimson eyes loomed larger, their glow menacing as they pierced through the fog. I'm scared, the girl admitted in a small voice, her confidence wavering as the echoes of their recent victory faded into uncertainty. Lucy turned, meeting her gaze with fierce determination. We just fought it off once. We can do it again. But if we run, it'll only chase us. We have to stand our ground. The girl swallowed hard, nodding slowly. Lucy could see the uncertainty, but she could also see the spark of courage kindling. What do we do next? The sinister gaze from the shadows lingered, almost mocking them. You think you're ready? The figure taunted, its voice a low hiss that sent chills down Lucy's spine. You think light can save you? Do you not know the darkness has teeth? Lucy shuddered, recalling the way the shadows had twisted and writhed. There was a weight behind the figure's words. Still, she pushed forward, urging herself to focus. We fight, together. As if in response, the shadows swirled violently, testing the edges of their radiance. The air crackled with tension, a palpable weight pressing against them. Lucy searched her heart for the beautiful memories they had conjured before. She needed that brightness again, something to anchor them in this fight. Close your eyes, she commanded again, gripping the girl's hand tightly. Remember what you felt, the power of the light. She quickly imagined the sunflower fields at her grandmother's house, stretching endlessly under the summer sun. She envisioned the smell of fresh pine and laughter echoing through crisp autumn air. Hope surged within her, a beacon of warmth. Breathe deeply, Lucy instructed. Let warmth fill you, and let it grow. As they steadied their breaths, she felt the glow between them intensifying, flickering back to life. The shadows reacted, seething as if disturbed by their unity. You're foolish to resist, the figure snarled, a low rumble that seemed to vibrate the ground beneath them. Maybe, Lucy shot back, her voice steadying with resolve. But we refuse to die in the dark. In that moment, a powerful urge swept through her. There was something profoundly deeper in this struggle, a truth that felt solid and alive. No more running, she declared, flaring her chin. Light isn't just a weapon. It's our lifeline. The girl took a deep breath, renewing her grip. Together, then? Together, Lucy affirmed. They opened their eyes, casting their confidence outward like a challenge. With synchronized conviction, they thrust their hands in front of them again. The beam of light erupted once more, stronger than before, crashing against the creeping darkness. But this time, something unexpected happened. Waves of light shimmered and rippled out, breaking through the figure with an electric pulse. The air shimmered around them, reality blurring momentarily, as if the world itself paused in awe. The figure hissed in rage, the crimson eyes glaring like dying embers. You think this ends well for you? It seethed, pulling back. With a defiance Lucy had never known before, she stepped forward. We're not afraid of you. Don't you see? You only have power as long as we allow it. Something shifted. The shadows quaked, then erupted into a storm of swirling whispers, confusing and chaotic. Lucy felt a sense of urgency. It's breaking. We have to push harder. Just as the shadows began to splinter, a chilling revelation hit Lucy like a punch to the gut. She had always viewed darkness as an enemy. But maybe, just maybe, there was more to understand. What is it? The girl asked, noticing Lucy's sudden stillness. Lucy hesitated, eyes still locked on the disintegrating form before them. What if it's not just a force to fight? What if there, as something it wants from us? The shadows began to coalesce again, their whispers turning feral, intensifying into a cacophony of sound, an echo carrying an ancient truth. Lucy the girl whispered nervously, eyes darting. We can't let it take us again, Lucy whispered, disbelief mingling with hope. But we must listen. Just then, the swirling shadows surged forward, eager to reclaim what they once lost. Lucy felt the despair creep back in like a freezing chill, and all she could do was brace herself for the truth she and T yet untangled. What if it knows something we don't? She breathed, with that thought lingering like a dark cloud overhead. More than just their lives were at risk. They were standing on the edge of an unseen conclusion. Could they truly confront the darkness, not as adversaries, but as curious souls? And what would it reveal if they did? The figure loomed closer, ready to strike, as Lucy prepared to face whatever lay hidden behind the veil. The shadows lunged forward, a wave of fear crashing into Lucy with the force of a tidal wave. She staggered back, feeling the grip of the girl falter for just a heartbeat. But Lucy dug her feet into the cold, unforgiving ground, drawing strength from the flickering light that surged between them. "Hold on," she shouted, rallying her resolve. "Remember who we are. We're not afraid." The girl's eyes widened, determination rekindling in their depths. "I'm with you," she declared. They stood firm, shoulder to shoulder, faces set against the encroaching darkness. "Devour them," the figure roared, launching itself forward with a grotesque snarl. As the shadows twisted around them, Lucy could feel the cold tendrils wrap closer, trying to reach in her chest, clawing at her heart. She inhaled sharply, blocking out the sound of her own panic. Invited in, the voice from the shadows hissed. "You're curious, you want to know, don't you?" "Not like that." Lucy shot back, shaking her head as if it could physically rid her of the dark influence. "But what do you want? Why won't you let us go?" "No one leaves without understanding," the figure replied, an unsettling calm creeping into its tone. The shadows pulsed, vibrating with an energy that felt both alien and familiar. The cacophony morphed into eerie whispers, each word curling around Lucy's mind like an insidious vine. "Give in to your fears. Let them guide you," it crooned, darkly seductive. "What's on the other side of fear, Lucy?" The girl squeezed Lucy's hand tighter, face pale but resolute. "Don't listen. We can't give in." Lucy closed her eyes, taking a deep breath again, centering herself. The memories of the sunflower fields pushed back against the encroaching dread, a beacon glowing brighter than any shadow. "You may think you can break us," she yelled into the heart of darkness. "But we're stronger than you know." The air shifted. It was almost suffocating now, thick with the weight of truth and lies. The shadows recoiled, flickering with uncertainty as her words resonated like a bell tolling through the dark. "You're not just a monster. You were once something else, weren't you?" Silence hung heavily for a moment before the figure answered, its voice softer, almost an echo of lost humanity. "Once, yes, but that is a memory long buried." "What memory?" Lucy pressed, daring to step closer, pulling the girl with her. "You're trapped, just like we felt. Show us what you want." In a flash, the darkness surged, swirling around them like a tempest. Suddenly, the chaotic whispers stilled. Amidst the swirling shadows, a flicker of a face emerged, pained, familiar. Fragments of stories long forgotten flashed before Lucy's vision, their clarity igniting the deepest of fears, yet also strong memories of joy. A hint of kindness beckoned, layered beneath countless fears. "Children lost," the figure murmured, its voice laced with a sorrow that resonated deep within Lucy. "It needs warmth. It craves light." Lucy's heart raced. "You're suffering, you want to be free." "Yes," the figure shrieked, the ferocity returning. "But at a cost. You'll have to give up your light." It lunged again, shadows extending, ready to swallow them whole. "No," Lucy shouted, planting her feet wide. "We can set you free without sacrificing our light." "What do you know of freedom?" Shadows collapsed into flesh-like shapes, writhing and clawing, tempting her with the promise of a world where fear didn't exist. The girl trembled beside Lucy, but she squeezed the small hand tighter. "We can help you find peace, but you have to trust us just like we're trusting each other." The shadows halted, a breath hanging in the air. Around them, everything felt poised in a delicate balance between despair and hope. The whispers softened, curiosity replacing rage. "Trust, what is that?" The figure's eyes flickered, uncertainty cracking through the bravado. Lucy's chest tightened. Could this darkness, stripped of its strength, confront the very essence of what it feared most? Connection? As the moment stretched, electricity buzzed in the air, and Lucy could feel the thin line between light and dark trembling. She didn't know if they could reach the figure's core, But one thing flickered in the air. Questions lingered long after darkness had laid its claim. "Then let us show you," she whispered, taking a reckless step forward. The weight of the unknown loomed behind them, heavy and watchful. Would they emerge whole or shatter beneath the weight of light and shadow intertwined? Or would they discover that the truth they sought was buried deep within them all? With the shadows still churning, another chance hung on the horizon, but would they be brave enough to seize it? Lucy's heart raced as she stepped forward, pulling the girl with her. She felt the intensity of their connection elevate in the air. "We're not here to fight. We want to understand," she called into the swirling chaos, her voice steady and resolute. The shadows wavered, momentarily unsure. The figure froze, hesitating against the weight of her sincerity. "Understanding?" It echoed, confusion intermingling with bitterness. "What do you know of the darkness that lives within?" Lucy searched her own heart, memories swelling, moments of joy flickering like the brightest stars. "I know pain and fear and the shadows of my own past," she admitted, her voice raw and vulnerable. "But I also know light, love, connection. We've all been lost at one point, haven't we? But there's always a way back to warmth." The girl beside Lucy trembled, her eyes widening as she felt the strength in Lucy's words envelop them. "We're afraid too, but we're still here. We want you to feel safe, to feel again," she added, voice cracking but laced with faith that a ripple of agitation coursed through the figure, shadows twisting like a furious storm. "Do you dare to bind yourself to what I am?" It roared, anger thrumming in every spectral limb. "You could become like me." "No, we don't want to become darkness," Lucy shouted defiantly, heart pounding. "We want to set you free. It's time to face the memories you're hiding from, the pain that has twisted you into this." The air crackled, the shadows twisting wildly as the figure recoiled momentarily, revealing the flicker of something human beneath the oppressive darkness. Lucy pushed forward, fueled by courage. "You deserve to heal. Let us help you unearth those memories," she pleaded, softening her grip on the girl's hand, praying for understanding. "Help me?" The figure answered incredulously, the suspicion plain. "I have nothing left but shadows." "Yes, but those shadows still remember love. I can feel it," Lucy urged, eyes never wavering from the figure. "You carry the echoes of laughter, warmth, moments of belonging. Let them emerge. Face what you've buried, not alone, but together." For the first time, something flickered through the figure's murkiness and image, perhaps. Lucy could almost make out a smiling face. An echo of laughter swept away in the passing darkness. The figure paused further, more flickers of light racing across its twisted shape, fleeting glimpses of a brighter time. "Remember that child?" Lucy pushed, her voice soft now, coaxing genuine feeling. "He was your friend. They wanted to play with you, and you were happy. You are not just the shadows, there is love tangled within." The shadows began to pulse, swirling around Lucy and the girl, hesitating at the very essence of her words. At that moment, they felt a fragile thread binding them. "Believe in the warmth, the light you once had," Lucy whispered, her heart beating more in tandem with the girl beside her, forming a resilient bond. Suddenly, an ear-piercing wail vibrated through the air, bringing turbulence into their little pocket of sanctuary. It surged forward, undulating with rage as the last vestiges of brightness flickered. "No, it's buried. You'll never understand." The figure howled, the specter becoming fierce. "Then let us share our light," Lucy pleaded, eyes glued to the shadows, desperation pooling in her gaze. "We're stronger together. We can break the darkness." Intensely activated by Lucy's unwavering voice, the little girl squeezed Lucy's hand, grounding her once more. "You have to trust us," she echoed with unexpected strength. The figure hesitated, the swirling shadows flickering around it as its essence wavered. The shadows pulsed violently one last time. "Trust," it murmured, a whisper barely breaking through before the shadows wrapped tighter, growing more frantic. "Yes," Lucy urged, need pouring through her voice. Trust is the bridge we need to cross. Let go. Let us help you release the pain. A moment of stillness, then the figure erupted in a cacophony of howls, shadows writhing in turmoil, caught in the clash of light and dark, despair wrestling with hope. A burning pinprick of light burst through the obscurity, flooding the air with warmth like a dawn-esque sunlight breaking through dawn, a flicker of something pure. Lucy took a deep breath, feeling strength surging within her as she and the girl extended their hands toward the now fragile darkness. Together, they shouted, their voices cutting through the torment. The shadows recoiled, an echo of incandescent memories surfacing amidst the torrent. With one unified thrust, they focused their light, infusing warmth into every crack, every hollow moment of anguish, drawing forth lost warmth buried deep beneath shadows. In that moment, the figure fell silent, evolving before their eyes. The darkness conformed, transforming, splintering as memories flooded back. Tears streaked through the shadows, bittersweet recollections of laughter, love, connection, longing for release. It hurts, the figure whispered, the rage dissipating, pain and vulnerability woven through its tone. But I want not to be lost anymore. Yes, Lucy exclaimed, hope filling her chest. Embrace what you once were. Stand in the light. With a shudder, the figure began to dissipate, memories flourishing back to life, bursting with radiant color. Shadows scattered in river-like streams, revealing glimpses of past smiles, gentle embraces, clarity piercing through the veil of anguish in that shared moment. Lucy knew they were free as the light swirled and settled. The figure transformed, brightening as shards of shadow melted away, revealing a gentle face that glowed with tenderness. Thank you, it said softly, more human now than ever, eyes reflecting centuries of sorrow now lifted. I can remember. With that, it smiled, an ethereal beacon of light flickering warmly around them. The echoes of resolution whirled about them, a promise no one is ever truly lost forever. As the memory settled, the girl beside Lucy glanced up, relief washing over her small features. Did we do it? She whispered, wonder flooding her cheeks. Yes, we untangled it. We conquered the shadows. Lucy breathed, tears of joy breaking free. Together, they looked at the remnants of darkness fading into the night, knowing even in the face of despair, love and light can always find a path back home. And with that knowledge lighting their way, Lucy and the girl stepped into the dawn, arms entwined, ready to embrace life unshackled from shadows, with hope illuminating the world that lay ahead. Never again would they turn away from the darkness. Together, they would take on the unknown. You need to subscribe now. Hit that red button immediately so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to fuel the algorithm and spread the love. I want to hear from you in the comments. Tell me your reactions and theories about this conclusion. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this epic ending. Your support makes all the difference. Show it now.